I got my vehicle back and guess what? Deadbeat wife's father got custody of the 2 kids. This first story comes from user NoSprog for me. My friend inherited his parents' house a few years back and has been slowly renovating it. The house is nothing special and not in the best area, but it's his. No banks, no mortgage. It also happens to be next door to a restaurant. The restaurant had been a neighborhood fixture for decades, but has slowly declined with the neighborhood. Cue the old owners walking away and selling it to a real sleazeball. New owner wants to buy my friend's house to demo it, so he can expand the restaurant's parking lot. Instead of offering a fair price, sleazeball tries to lowball my friend, assuming he doesn't know the property's potential value. Sleazeball gets offended when my friend counters with fair market value and begins to bully him with passive aggressive shit. Delivery trucks blocking his sidewalk, new super bright security lights that shine into the house, etc. On top of that, sleazeball is openly racist and refers to my friend as all sorts of epithets. Sleazeball even tries to turn the neighbors against my friend by telling them that he's a drunk, has anger issues, etc. All the while sleazeball is doing major renovations/expansions to his restaurant. The Revenge. My friend does contracting work for the city and is on a first name basis with the local boards. Turns out sleazeball didn't file for the proper permits. After an anonymous report to the inspectors, he's ordered to demolish the new expansion. You'd think that would be it, but oh no. The restaurant hasn't been properly inspected for years and the city orders further inspections. Another anonymous report stated that the restaurant was unsanitary. No surprise, it fails the health and safety inspection and is condemned as structurally deficient. Between the fines, repair costs, and loss of business, the owner files for bankruptcy and the old restaurant is demolished. This next story comes from user Triton V8 guy. This is not a throwaway, because fudge these people, I hope they find it. Backstory, I'm a part of a small family owned type used car dealership, Q used car salesman joke here. We have maybe 50 cars on the lot at any time and our main business is subprime or people with less than perfect credit. We truly want to help the people that can't afford/have the credit to buy from a new car dealership. We are actually very liked in our small community. So recently I had these customers, let's call her wife and him husband, they're early 20s. They come into my store and I like them. They seem like a nice young couple trying to start their lives out. They have 2 very sweet little girls and could just use a break. They have made some mistakes in their early lives and have less than perfect credit. I coach them on how to improve their credit and they seem sincerely interested in fixing it, so I bust my ass to get them a loan with the wife's mother co-signing on a nice third row SUV. Wife is literally crying, hugging me, because every other dealer turned them down. Now they are a little short on the down payment, so I take a check for the balance and we agree I'll cash it on his next payday. Mistake number 1, but pretty common in this line of work. I forget about them until the next week, when I drop the check at the bank along with other deposits. The next thing I know, I receive a notice that the check has bounced, along with a couple NSF fees attached for me, and the check comes back. It's a dollar amount that is considered a first-degree misdemeanor in our state, just under a felony. I reach out to wife to see what happened and how we can make arrangements to get this taken care of. The last thing I want to do is go after a young couple with 2 small kids. At first wife is a little shocked and insists the funds were pulled from their account and I show them the picture of the NSF check. She understands and says they can pay half in 2 weeks when she's paid again, and in another 2 weeks, pay the other half. I agree to this and just take them on their word. Mistake 2. A couple weeks rolls around and I don't hear from wife or husband, and am now thinking I've been taken for a ride, ignoring my calls / texts / etc. You get the point. I get a call from the bank, and come to find out they haven't made their first payment either. Now with this particular bank, if the customer does not make their first payment, we have to buy back the deal. Basically, we have to give the bank the money they sent us for the loan. After blowing up their phones and Facebook, they finally call me back. I get the sob story. He got let go from his job and he just started a new one, and mom is going to help them get back on their feet. I go through hell and high water with the bank to make a deal that if they make their payment they'll keep the loan, but I'm still on the hook if they miss any of the next 3 payments. Wife also tells me they'll make payments to me on the bounce check once he starts getting paychecks. So I agree. They make their payment to the bank and I go about my life point until the next month comes around. I get an email from the bank saying wife didn't make the next month's payment and won't answer their calls. At this point I'm furious and ready to just go get their vehicle. They won't answer any of my calls and call mom. Mom scrounges everything in her social security paycheck to help try to make the payment for them and is short. Wife and husband tells her they'll cover the balance and of course don't pay. Bank says deal is a boo back, we need our money back for the loan within 7 days. Now the only way I can pay back their loan is if my floor plan, basically giant credit card we buy cars on, gets pictures of the car in my possession. I try to call / text / email / message on Facebook to get a hold of both wife and husband, and they block me on everything. They're basically just stealing the vehicle without paying. They even blocked mom, who has been trying to help them get this handled. Yes, they screwed over their own mother in this ordeal. I just want the vehicle back and move on with life. So this is where I go ProRevenge on them. I begin by dropping the check off at the local prosecutor, and they are delighted to file charges against them. I do some skip tracing, calling family members, all of which are more than happy to help, because come to find out husband has had 7 jobs in 4 months and has burned every single family member with money they've borrowed. I find wife's father on Facebook. Father has been trying to take custody of deadbeat wife and husband's 2 kids because of how they treat them. He informs me they are staying in sister's house right over the border. We are on the state line of 2 states, remember this. I call up a repo company and even myself drive the hour to go get the vehicle. They've been hiding it in the garage, according to neighbors and repo company. I do some searching and find out they're both on probation for stealing a bunch of stuff from multiple stores. So I of course find and call up Mrs. Probation Officer to see if she has the last known address. I then mention to her they are staying above the state line and bounced a very large check to me, and they're facing fresh charges in my town. She appreciates the knowledge. Now while I was up at their house one evening, I talked to one of the neighbors, who also hate them. They're always yelling at their kids and each other, and convince neighbor to call me if they see the vehicle outside. It took one day. I get the call. I send a very large friend who lives nearby them to go get the vehicle. After many expletives, berating my friend, they hand over the vehicle. But not before finally calling me while he was there and tell me how they are going to sue and blah blah. I'm out quite a bit of money from the ordeal, but here's the best part. I just found out, by living out of state, they violated probation and just got sentenced to 30 days in jail from that, and they also just had their video court date because they are currently in jail with the probation violation with the local judge on the new charges of the bounced check. I got my vehicle back, and guess what? Deadbeat wife's father got custody of the 2 kids. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to tell me what your thoughts are about these stories in the comments below. Like and subscribe to become a delicious taco. And I will see you in the next one.